Vortak's compound eyes gleamed with anticipation as he reviewed the guest list for the 5th Galactic Deathworld Summit. The most dangerous species in known space would gather on Kuruk Prime, a planet so hostile that merely surviving its surface for one rotation was considered a mark of supreme evolutionary achievement. The Vrextai from the sulfur seas of Meridian 7, he announced to his aide, mandibles clicking with satisfaction. The crystalline shardlings from the quantum storm worlds of the Helix Nebula. The pressure-adapted benthics from the crushing depths of Oceanus. Each species represented the pinnacle of survival evolution, beings forged in environments so lethal that they had become living weapons. The summit was their exclusive gathering, a chance for the galaxy's apex survivors to share territories, negotiate hunting grounds, and generally remind the softer species why certain regions of space were marked as extreme hazard, no entry. And the humans? His aide inquired, consulting her datapad. Ah yes. Vortak's voice carried amusement. The humans. They requested an invitation after their homeworld classification was upgraded to Class 12 Deathworld. Some administrative error, no doubt. Earth barely qualifies. Single star system. Stable climate. Abundant liquid water. He gestured dismissively with one of his 6 arms. But protocol is protocol. They sent one representative. Should be amusing to watch them struggle with Kuruk Prime's basic environmental challenges. Kuruk Prime existed in a state of perpetual volcanic activity. Surface temperatures averaged 200 degrees Celsius. The atmosphere was 60% sulfur dioxide, 30% methane, and 10% various noble gases that would be toxic to most carbon-based life. Acid rain fell continuously. The gravity was 3.2 times galactic standard. Radiation levels would sterilize most organic compounds within hours. It was, in short, the perfect neutral ground for species that considered habitable worlds to be vacation destinations. The human shuttle landed at the designated coordinates with suspicious ease. Most first-time visitors to Kuruk Prime spent considerable time in orbit, running atmospheric analysis and configuring environmental suits. The human craft simply landed. Dr. Elena Vasquez stepped onto Kuruk Prime's surface wearing what appeared to be a standard environmental suit, nothing like the powered exoskeletons and atmospheric processors the other species required. She carried a single equipment case and what looked suspiciously like a packed lunch. Welcome to the 5th Galactic Deathworld Summit, Vortak greeted her through his translation array, noting with surprise that she moved easily in the crushing gravity. I trust your environmental systems are functioning adequately? Oh, this is lovely, Dr. Vasquez replied, looking around at the Hell's Cape of volcanic vents and acid pools. Reminds me of Yellowstone in winter, but warmer. The sulfur smell is a bit strong, but you get used to it. Vortak's aide whispered urgently in his audio receptor. Chancellor, her suit's environmental readings are minimal. Basic air filtration, temperature regulation, and radiation shielding only. That cannot be sufficient for Vortak began, but Dr. Vasquez was already unpacking her equipment case. I brought some samples to share, she announced cheerfully, producing what appeared to be biological specimens in sealed containers. Earth organisms that might interest the group. The assembled Deathworld species gathered around the conference pit, a natural amphitheater formed by intersecting lava flows. Each delegation occupied specially constructed environmental bubbles that protected them from Kuruk Prime's atmosphere while allowing communication. Dr. Vasquez sat on a rock. Our first specimen, she began, holding up a sealed container, is from our deep ocean thermal vents. We call them extremophiles, organisms that thrive in conditions previously thought impossible for life. She opened the container. A writhing mass of what looked like metallic worms emerged, immediately beginning to consume the volcanic minerals around Dr. Vasquez's feet. These little fellows love temperatures up to 400 degrees Celsius and sulfur-rich environments. They actually eat heavy metals and excrete industrial compounds. The Vrextai representative, a being that had evolved in seas of boiling sulfuric acid, leaned forward with interest. Fascinating. What planetary classification produces such organisms? Oh, these are from one of our more temperate regions, Dr. Vasquez replied. The really exciting specimens come from our extreme environments. She produced another container. Antarctic ice fish. They've developed antifreeze proteins that let them survive in sub-zero temperatures that would flash freeze most cellular structures. Another container, Tardigrades, microscopic organisms that can survive the vacuum of space, radiation levels that would sterilize most planets, temperatures from near absolute zero to 150 degrees Celsius, and pressure 6 times greater than our deepest ocean trenches. The crystalline shardling representative's harmonic voice carried a note of concern. What classification system rates a world that produces such organisms as merely Class 12? Dr. Vasquez smiled. Well, that's the thing. Earth isn't really classified as a death world because of extreme conditions. It's classified as a death world because of biodiversity pressure. She gestured around the volcanic landscape. This is actually quite peaceful compared to Earth. Single environmental challenge, stable conditions, predictable hazards. On Earth, everything is trying to eat everything else all the time in millions of different ways. She opened her lunch container. Anyone want a sandwich? I brought extra. The assembled death world species, beings that had conquered environments that would kill most galactic life, stared at the human eating a casual meal on the surface of one of the most hostile planets in known space. You see, Dr. Vasquez continued between bites, Earth doesn't have extreme heat or cold or pressure or radiation. Instead, it has extreme competition. Every ecological niche is contested by multiple species, each one evolving new ways to survive, reproduce, and eliminate competitors. She pulled out a tablet showing Earth's biosphere. We have organisms that produce acid more corrosive than your sulfur seas. Bacteria that generate temperatures hotter than these volcanic vents. Plants that create toxins more deadly than your radiation fields. Predators more efficient than anything your gravity wells have produced. The silence around the conference pit was profound. And humans, the benthic representative asked, his voice bubbling through his pressure suit speakers. Dr. Vasquez grinned. Humans are the species that survived all of that and then decided to become the apex predator anyway. We didn't adapt to one extreme environment. We adapted to fighting every other species that had adapted to extreme environments. She finished her sandwich and began packing up her specimens. Earth was classified as a Class 12 death world not because it's trying to kill you, she explained, but because everything living on it is trying to kill everything else and we're the species that won. High Chancellor Vortak realized with growing horror that they hadn't invited a death world species to their summit. They had invited the species that had conquered a death world. And she was treating their most hostile gathering place like a pleasant picnic spot.